everyone. So I'm going to be looking at reverse cards and some of those scary negative looking cards. So let's touch on reverse cards first. So something that I get asked by a lot of students is, do I have to use reversal cards when I'm reading? So what I mean by a reverse card is that when you're drawing your cards out and one happens to land upside down. So reverse cards, long and the short of it, is a personal choice. There's no rule that says you have to use them or you can't use them. It literally comes down to personal choice. Do you want to work with reverse cards? Do reverse cards work for you? For me personally as a reader, I don't use reverse cards. If a card's going to come up in its reverse meaning, invariably I'll pick that up intuitively throughout the reading. So I don't feel the need to work with reverse cards. Some readers absolutely thrive off working off reverse cards and it works for them. So in answering the question, should you work with reverse cards, ask the question, do you want to work with reverse cards? And there's definitely a benefit to working with them because it can give a different insight into your readings. It can make your readings more in depth. It can give more direction to your readings. The flip side to that, though, is that you're now adding a whole new dynamic to your readings. So if you're new to the tarot and you're trying not to overwhelm yourself with information, hold off on working with the reverse cards for a little bit. Reverse cards don't always mean something bad or something negative. A reverse card, when interpreting that card, you're literally going to be interpreting the reverse meaning for that card. So, for example, if we pulled the Fool card in reverse, so the Fool upright, his base meanings is carefree, being the authentic self, new start, taking a leap of faith, trust. So if we had to reverse that, lack of trust, lack of freedom, maybe perhaps feeling tied down, also being foolish, being frivolous, leaping before looking. So we're literally taking the upright meaning and we're turning it on its head. So when we have cards that are generally a little bit more harsh or negative in nature, like perhaps the Two of Swords or the Eight of Swords or perhaps the Devil or the Death card, and we're reversing those cards around, hey, we're winning now, like life is great. So instead of like the Two of Swords traditional, being blinded and bound by fear or allowing fears to stop us or it's blocking us or holding us back, it could be an indication that we're releasing fear and that we're not allowing fear to hold ourselves. It could also be a message of, hey, don't let fear stop you. Don't let that stuff hold you back. So reverse cards don't always mean something bad or negative. It's literally just the opposite of what you would normally read. Negative cards. So we have a couple of cards in the tarot that are big and scary. And if you're reading for other people, likely you'll know what those cards are. I've already mentioned a few: the Devil, the Death card, the Tower card, your Eight of Swords, your Two of Swords. Most of your 5 cards are pretty bleak and scary. So you have all these cards that we don't really want to see in a reading, right? No, it's really okay to pull those cards because a lot of those negative cards have some really powerful lessons for us. So let's take probably the biggest, scariest one, the Devil card. You put that card down in front of anyone and you can actually feel the energy shift in the room. I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. That's a bad thing. What is he there to teach you? So the Devil is our shadow self. That's what he represents. So in a reading, he could represent any number of the shadow aspects for you or the person that you're reading for. Your fears, your addictions, the things that hold you back, the parts of your nature that you don't really want to acknowledge or see. But what do those things have to teach you? So he's coming up for a reason. He's not just showing himself to be big and scary and terrify you. He's there to say, hey, there's something for you to learn here. There's something that you can grow from, that you can do something with. So what can you learn from me? I'm here to teach you. The Tower card as well. People cringe when they get the Tower card. Well, because it's chaos and destruction in the image. Nobody wants chaos and destruction, but the Tower card is really all about transformation. So he's not a bad thing. He's just a reminder of, hey, you're going through a transformation right now, and let's navigate this transformation more efficiently so that you can weather the storm of the chaos, So sure, life's going to be upheavals and crazy, but you don't have to lose your head about it. And invariably you can pull other cards around that, or you'll have other cards around it that will help you through that transformation, that will guide you through that transformation. How can you weather the storm of transformation more efficiently? So the negative cards are not always what they seem. Something that's really helpful here in negative cards, and if you have a personal aversion to these cards, or you're working with someone, reading for someone who you can see has an aversion to that card, is understanding that aversion. So if you have an aversion to the Ace of Swords, for example, every time you pull it, you're just like, oh, it's this card again, I don't like this card. Why? What don't you like about that card? What is putting you off that card? If you're reading for someone else, ask them the question, what about that card scares you? What's making you uncomfortable? And from there, perhaps it could just be that they don't know what the card means, and they're just going on Hollywood's prediction of, oh, it's a devil card, like life is doom and gloom now. Then you can just re-educate them and be like, well, you're just looking at your shadow stuff. It's not that bad. There's lessons to be learned. And for yourself, understanding your own aversions to those cards, because when you're reading for yourself, and especially if you're reading for others, this is important. Especially if you're going to be reading for other people, understanding your aversions to certain cards is very valuable, so that when you're reading that card for other people, you're not allowing your personal aversions to come up into that reading. So you're pulling the death card, I really hate this card, he freaks me out, I'm not comfortable with this card. All of that is going to filter through into the reading that you're either doing for yourself or you're doing for someone else, and you're going to give yourself a bit of a jaded, disfigured perspective in your reading, and you're not going to see the full picture. You're literally just going to see the aversion or that skewed picture of how you perceive that card. So work through your set and understand what cards you have an aversion to and why you've got that aversion. So reverse cards, personal choice. Use them, don't use them. There's no right or wrong. If you use them, it's literally just the reverse of if the card was upright. Doesn't always mean something bad or negative. Negative cards, work with them, learn from them. They are probably some of the most valuable cards that you will find in the tarot. And I tell you what, sometimes the Sun card will come up in a very negative space, and sometimes that's a card that you need to be like, oh, that's not a good card to have in that spot. So don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge a tarot card by its picture, and understand your aversions to those cards, because that's going to help you become a much better, more accurate reader for yourself